In my 3 pillars of preparedness, the number one thing, and seems to be the most difficult thing for people to do as far as preparedness, is water. My 3 pillars are water, food, and security. Now, when we think about water, we normally think about something like this, and I'll go over this again. But we normally think about something like this, or maybe one of the big blue ones from Walmart, or wherever you get your water container. It's 8 drops of chlorine, unscented chlorine bleach per container or per gallon. We think about those things because we're kind of preppers are. Well, we only think about what we think we can do. What I'm going to show you today is a way that you can go bigger. You can do big water. It can be done on a budget and in a limited space. I'm going to kind of air out some of my own dirty laundry in this video, so make sure that you stick around. Now, before we get into it, do me a favor. I want you to hit that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps and it's greatly appreciated. So, let's get into it. So the first thing I did was I had to pick a spot to put this thing. I figured, why even take it out of the box? The box is about the same size as the product itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the box as a measuring device. So I propped the box into the corner that I wanted to do. And then what I did was I took a piece of paper and I just slipped it into the cracks of my deck so that I could see it from underneath and know where I needed to put the supports. I made it a little bit bigger off the beam on each side so it wasn't exactly underneath it, but I figured I was going to hit a cross support anyway, so that's where I put my mark. The next thing I had to do was get myself underneath the deck and actually set some supports up. Now, these supports were just hanging around the house, so I figured I'd use them. They're a little bit bigger than what I would normally use, but they also gave me the ability to not have to cut such long 4x4s. I'm probably going to speed this up so that you guys can see the actual process, maybe play a little bit of stupid music, but then you'll be able to see what I actually had to do underneath the deck. And this is my first time doing this, and it's not perfect, and I probably will change it. But what it comes down to is that now the deck has a support underneath it. So the next thing I had to do was cut me a couple of 4x4s. In this particular case, it came out to one of them being at right around 11 inches, another one being just over 11 inches. It was all based off of how I had leveled the concrete pillars or pylons. It's actually a pretty simple process, and I think you can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play out here, and you can watch the shenanigans that happen when I try to cut a board. And then the last thing I had to do was go right back underneath that deck and make sure that these supports actually fit. I'll say it again in a few other times, but I do plan on coming back and reinforcing these with either some kind of strap or hell, just a nail. With the weight that's going to be coming onto this deck, it's going to be pretty difficult to move these supports. So let's just enjoy the show. When we talk about water supply or water storage, we often think about these things and these things. In fact, I've lived off of these things for years, and I just happened to run across these super expensive things in a thrift shop. I picked them up, like 2 of them for $8. These are like $60, $70 jugs. But, you can pick these up at Walmart for whatever. What we're going to do today is we're going to install that behemoth right there, that 55-gallon container step by step. Now, as you've seen already, I had to reinforce the floor. And this video has actually been a long time in the coming for a series of different reasons. So the unboxing went pretty much as well as can be expected. It's pretty simple. Pop some tape off, cut it open with your knife. Obviously you want to be careful because it's made of plastic, but it's really tough, so I don't think that you're going to cut it open. It came in a internal piece of plastic that kind of wrapped around. It sliced it open. You can find the instructions for you. They were a little faded out, but that's okay because you can get these things online. It's not a problem. And after that, it's just cumbersome plastic. It's good size. It's not overweight. And what I needed to do now was just get it out of that box and figure it all out. And that's what I did. Next, we had to wash this sucker out. There was already liquid in it. I don't know if it was pre-washed or if it was tested or what, but definitely had to give it all rinsed down. One of the things that I read about it online was, and it wasn't necessarily a complaint, it was just something that was there, was that there was plastic shavings in some of these products. So it's probably just a good idea to rinse it out, so that's what I did, just to make sure that, it's going to be nice and clean when I start to put some fresh water inside of it. After a quick drying off, it was time to set it in its place. So one of the things I decided to do afterwards was to pre-filter. See, I have a well. I know exactly what's in my well. I filter my water all the time. So I know that it's got deposits in it, things like that. And so all you have to do is go buy a RV water filter. You buy one of these, you hook it to your water hose, and you fill it up. Now your water is pre-filled. It's really simple. I will leave a link in the description so that you can find these and get them to do the same thing or whatever you want to do with them. But this is all part of my plan. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go turn some water on now. I've got to make sure that the valve is closed. Now, some of these valves actually come disassembled. There are instructions. I will leave those someplace for you to see at some point. And but yeah, that's closed. Okay, so let me close this. So what you're basically seeing is I'm pre-filtering my water using an RV filter. I don't know exactly how long this will take, but I'm going to time it and we're going to find out, because God knows you don't want to watch that. All right, that's done. Okay, so it took 21 minutes to fill this up, and it's probably up around here. There's a couple things I learned about learning to fill this, because this plastic has a special light protection within it that I'll put it someplace, you know the acronym, so that light doesn't penetrate through it and start to create algae. One of the tricks that I had to use to see how high the water was actually putting a flashlight on the outside, looking inside, and then moving the flashlight to the edge of the water line, and so I can see how high the water is. I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can do this. So just take this flashlight, that flashlight right there, and I turn it on, and I'm going to put it to the side here, and then we're gonna look inside of the tank until we see where the water line. I don't know if you guys can see the water line. It's actually right at it. You can see the wiggle, and then now you can see where it is. Kind of. Okay, I think you guys get the gist. Let's spin that around, and that's how much water is inside of it, right there. Now, before we close this up, I want to talk about this lid. This lid is kind of ingenious. It's just not just a squirt and it goes on. It actually has a vent in it. Here, check this out. There you go. Oh yeah, look at that. You got this little vent right here. Let's stuff out, but it won't let stuff in. It's pretty ingenious how this is actually made, and you could actually use this for self-venting. So now I'm just going to put this on top of here. I'm going to just put a little bit of squick. I'm going to wipe the top off of it. I may put something over it for a little bit more protection, but it's pretty stable. It's pretty strong. And no leakage. So I'm happy. Okay, so let's go over some of the basic stuff. I've got my clipboard out. I got my notes. I'm ready to go. So the first thing is assembly. It's a 5-step process. Simply follow the instructions. They're right on the website. It's really very simple here. They're going to look just like that. Just do those things, and this thing will assemble itself basically with your magical abilities to plug things into stuff. Don't worry about it. It's super simple. The next thing is installation. Guys, this was the one thing that stopped me from doing this for a long time. Do not let it slow you down the way it slowed me down. I overplanned things. I just needed to just go ahead and do it. Come up with a basic plan and do it, because you're going to make mistakes no matter what. Now, the big consideration is actually weight. All right, this is 55 gallons if I fill it all the way to the top. Water at room temperature is 4.34 pounds per gallon. So at 55 gallons, that's 458 pounds, which is why I had to reinforce the floor. Very basic, very simple stuff. I'll probably go in and check it later. Probably check it tomorrow, make sure nothing is settling, and then I'll put the reinforcement brackets inside of it. You can buy those at Lowe's or wherever. Hell, you can just drive a nail into the damn thing, and it's probably not going to move with almost 500 pounds of weight on it. It's not really an issue. Location, finding a spot. And obviously the spot has to be able to handle the weight. I initially had thought about just building a platform made of red brick. Just stack them, back and forth, or vertically, or however you want to stack them, so that it gets it up off of the ground. But then I decided I want to put it inside. I want to see what's going to happen in here. The worst thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to come out here tomorrow and things aren't going to look so great, which I seriously doubt is going to happen. I'll have to drain it, I'll have to move it, and I'll have to refill it. Either way, I'm not concerned about it, and you shouldn't be either. Most people, if you have a basement, just get something up underneath it so it's not on the concrete, and you're going to be just fine. A pallet, you could build a pallet, you could do all sorts of stuff. I plan on doing more videos with this particular water device, and the reason I do is because I want to experiment with different things. I already have some plans, which we'll talk about in a second. Shipping, guys. Some of the water storage capabilities like this that the company can send to you are very ginormous, and that means that they're going to have to pay like cargo shipping and stuff like that. So I'm just going to read this right off the website for you. Estimated arrival within 3 to 10 days from the shipping confirmation. So they're actually going to send you a shipping confirmation. Water tanks ship via freight. Ship rates are calculated on checkout. Due to the size of tanks, it should say some tanks, shipping can range in price. Okay, so you may have to pay a little bit for the shipping. But with this size tank, they sent it to me on FedEx. Wasn't a problem. There was a minimal cost associated with it, and it wasn't a big deal. They didn't have to pull a tractor trailer up my driveway, is what I'm trying to tell you. So that's something to think about. One of the things that you may have noticed is that I did not put any water stabilizer in it. Well, that's because it's on the way. The water stabilizers are on the way. It's actually something called, I'm going to put something right here for you guys. It's actually something called the name of the company that sells all this stuff is called the Water Supply Company. And they sell a product which is kind of neat. It's called the H2O ResQ Biofilm Defender. It comes in a 2-ounce bottle. And here's the magical thing. It can treat up to 355 gallons It's pretty amazing. You can put I'm going to put some charts over here. You guys are going to see what I'm talking about. It is absolutely amazing because that means now you don't have to buy this stuff over and over and over. It's an amazing thing. So make sure you guys check out that product. Oh, by the way, it will stabilize your water for 5 years. It's going to prep your water for 5 years is what it's basically going to do. And that's pretty impressive. Okay, so now let's talk about mistakes, improvements, and lessons learned. This was my first time ever doing something like this. For all the pros out there, you may have saw me screwing it all up, but in the end, I have 55 gallons of water if something goes wrong tomorrow. 80% solution, I win. So keep that in mind. First of all, assembly. You didn't get to see the assembly, and the reason is because it came to me pre-assembled. It looks like they actually assembled it and washed it out for me. I don't know if that's because they wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems, or if that's something they do all the time. But I don't know. You'll find out when you buy one. Something else that I've been thinking about, and it's going to be probably going to pop up in some future videos about this particular product, is the height. The spigot is not on the ground, but it's low enough that you could hook a garden hose to it, no problem. But what I would optimally like to do is be able to get at least a small bucket underneath it. So you may see some future videos where I'm actually changing that, where I'm going to drain this sucker out and I'm going to build something to put up underneath it that's going to get high enough to fill a bucket up. That is the plan. You know, obviously you have some gravitational issues if you raise 500 gallons of water a foot off the ground. You know, that structure that you create underneath it has to be extremely strong and something that's not just going to wobble. So that's going to be a project within itself. But once again, I've got the water now, so I'm happy. Now I'm actually going to be making a lot more videos about water purification, water filtration, water storage in the future. And I'm actually going to create a playlist someplace, probably YouTube or whatever. And you'll be able to find all of these water-related products there. So make sure that you stick around. Make sure you just don't disappear on me, you know, and make sure you do all the things that you're supposed to do to get videos when you're supposed to. Now, I also want to thank Matt from the Water Supply Tanks Company. That's actually the name of it, Water Supply Tanks Company, for giving me this opportunity, providing me with this product. You know, so far, I'm extremely impressed with the product, guys. I think that it's well worth the money if you do decide to buy in on it. It changes the game. It changes or enhances your capabilities instantly. Instantly. The second it's full, you're set. You don't have all these little 7-gallon water jugs all over the place trying to figure out how much water you need for you and your family. And the thing is, if you don't recognize the things on the top of it, it's stackable. It's stackable, guys. You can stack one on top of the other. Let me put a picture right here for you. It's pretty awesome stuff, guys. But once again, you start stacking it. Remember, you just added another 500 pounds. You better have a strong floor. And it better be level. That is for sure. Now, I told you this is the first time I'm actually doing this particular type of product. And I'm very impressed with it. I'm also very impressed with the company. I'll tell you guys that right off the bat. What I would like you to do is leave some comments below. I'm very interested in your ideas, your suggestions, specifically getting this thing off the ground in a safe manner, like right where it is. So if you've got some ideas for that, put them in the comments. I really want to hear from you, and more than likely, I'll respond to you. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you know when my videos drop, and you will get notified. Make sure you hit that notification bell if this sucker ends up on YouTube, which it probably will. All right, guys, until the next time, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.